Do it. Hello there! Welcome to another installment of the Inside Star Citizen Review. If you're a fan of the show and watching on YouTube, please take the time to help all of us out by pushing the like button or perhaps pushing the join button for exclusive stream highlights where I sing crazy songs, after parties with lots of different beverages, and complete episodes of DG in the morning. The larger our audience, the more we are heard by the developers. If you're here live, well then just sit back, relax, grab your favorite refreshment, get your typey fingers ready, get them tippy tapping, and let's have a good time. Thank you all for making the show tonight. I'd like to take the time to talk tonight about the presentation before we begin of different game developers out there. These presentations we've seen the entirety of the week that I've posted on YouTube are ridiculous. What you're witnessing now, I'm not talking about Cloud Imperium right now. I'm talking about the content that we've reviewed that you guys brought to this channel this week. I have had a rant fest on 3 different titles. We've looked at Star Atlas, Elite Dangerous, and Dual Universe, just to name a few of the rants this week, okay? These separate developers are all sci-fi in nature, and they're landing flat on their face. It's giving me salad vibes. It's giving me salad vibes. Salad vibes. It's terrible. Shoo it down. The disconnect is so monumentally absurd with these game developers that produce these titles that I wonder if any of them have even played their own games. We're witnessing a renaissance of stupidity, okay? Which leads me to how it's done right, okay? Star Citizen, Cloud Imperium, while at times lackluster, okay, has been hitting on all cylinders in terms of consistent content and a level of transparency. Through its content, it has brought in more people to the project and record-breaking revenues. Yes, at times, I'm absolutely upset by the lack of substance during our times watching these Inside Star Citizens, especially this season, okay? There's a few episodes that are exceptions this season. They're getting better. I think it had to do with the move, okay? But you really have to hand it to Cloud Imperium. They continue to grind away despite the critics, myself included, despite the fact they may trip up, okay? They keep getting up and they keep marching forward, even if it's incredibly slow at times. Game develop on this scale for what it is we want, that's really never been done before, okay? It takes stamina, or as I like to call it, stamina. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and I, for one, am very happy at their approach, especially after the highlights we've seen here on DG360 from other developers this week. Star Atlas, Elite Dangerous, Dual Universe, okay? They have been, like, wow. Off the wall crazy how disconnected the developers are from the gamer. What I love, what I feel is at least there's some consistency. You understand? We might not always like it, okay? But how they're presenting this to you and the consistency of it is probably some of the best in the game development world. Now let's watch Inside Star Citizen. Thank you for that very serious announcement at the very beginning of the show.
The stand system has seen many changes since the persistent universe first came online. It's grown, expanded, been reshaped and reformed, and it continues to evolve with each successive patch. And while the upcoming Pyro system and our journey to 4.0 is a big focus for everyone around, it's important to keep an eye on the present and continue to iterate on and improve upon what's come before. And this week's show focuses on the...
I can smell the polish on this table. It's very proper. We got a very English vibe going on here right now. Jared, currently, who knows? Look, I don't know where this is at. But I somewhere in the distance, I can smell some Naugahyde. Like some wood polish And Jared, the hairy beast, just sitting there. God bless him. You know, this super serious. Like, this is exactly what the show is all about. It's just taking moments of the show and kind of like breaking it down into feelings sometimes. It's a good thing to do. And this is pretty good. I'm getting like a warm vibe, right? I'm feeling like an educated vibe. We've moved now to England. We have to be proper. Everything's lit at the current correct lumens. The lumen, or the color temperature, is approximately 3200 Kelvin. Splendid. Absolutely splendid. Everything down to the table. Do you smell it? Do you smell Do you smell it?
The work of the mission feature team in doing just that. Now, up first, Space
How
Station...
many minutes? How many minutes? 9 minutes. Just a little bit more time. Just put more minutes onto the show. We know that this show can take a 5-minute show and make it like 50 minutes. That's why we love me. That's why I love me. That's why some of you love me. And there's a few out there that hate me. And you're still here because you hate me. And I love that hate. I will turn that hate around. And I will do something with that hate. And you will feel like, well, what did he just do to me? And then you will love me. Let's continue the show.
Correa, old stalwart of PvP in the Stanton system, is about to get a makeover both in looks and in restored purpose.
Back in its heyday, Korea used to be this big central hub for PvP.
Max just letting us know, an Englishman in the chat, I believe Max, is saying, listen, Manchester is working class, so not proper. Whoa, throwing it down. Burn. Burned everybody in Manchester. I hope they don't know where you live, Max. I can hear it get pretty rowdy right now.
Which has multiple entrances and exits, and it's just
fam.
perfect for that kind of gameplay.
When we added the UGFs and added some of the security depots where you could go and hack away your crime stat, kind of took away from Korea's unique PvP draw.
PvP.
And we decided that we want to give players a taste of what Korea used to be like.
Craziness.
Korea is a security outpost that was meant for Crusader security to kind of have as their base of operations. Unfortunately, it ended up not being fit for living and working there.
It's been abandoned by Crusader. The uses the player can have there is there's a few missions they can take there to kill, you know, stragglers, nine-tails. They can go,
and that's how you do it. That's how you salt and pepper it with game design. You put a place there that's interesting, a place of reference for people that know that it's there in the game, in an MMO that we want it to be. People gravitate to it for whatever reason. If you're there for some pirate fun, if you're there for a mission, right? You just salt and pepper it with a little PvE, a little PvP. Have a nice little place where people can like get down, and then you got yourself some content. Now, people would argue that's not content. They would say, DG, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about, right? I would say that there's something really crazy going on in the gamer world with each new generation of gamer. It seems like every generation continues to feel like they have to have content directly spoon-fed from the developer. Now, don't get me wrong. I got a lot of flack on a highlight I put from a stream last week where I was talking about a lack of imagination in younger adults, kids, you know. And I know I got that boomer vibe when I talk like this, but it's true. It's like a lot of us could look at a place like this, right? And we could say, okay, I'm going to do this, X, Y, Z. I'm going to fucking have fun and have a fucking blast. There is a point of reference. There is something here for me to do, to fuck with, to like there are people landing around. You know what I mean? Like there's content, you know, just in my brain, like of things, like imagination, things to do, right? And a lot of people like got mad at me. They said, DG, they pointed a finger at me. They were like, what are you talking about? Like that's all I meant. Like they took me way too literal to one side, right? To an extreme side. Like that's all we're gonna get. Like I didn't understand that you should get some PvE. There you go. Calm me down a little bit. Thank you, Trip Out. Thank you. What's up, Trip Out? All right, you're calming me down. You're calming me down. But I'm getting mad. I'm getting a little bit mad because people took me out of context and went to the extreme, and they said, "Oh, you're just all you need is an imagination, DJ. You don't need a game developer to actually put content in." Listen, of course you need missioning. Of course you need the PvE. Of course you need that in game design, right? I'm talking about the lack of imagination of a lot of gamers out there, and like frankly, there's a lot of people like us that are feeling it, right, Tech? And it's a scary thing, man, because like these guys gotta like spoon feed everything to you, little letter by little letter, wipe your fucking ass, and you know, and when you complete it, you want spoon fed and you want your asses wiped again. And you know what? It's a little scary. It's a little scary. Thank you so much, Tech. Thank you so much, Trip Out. Putting those biddies down. Listen, I like the PvE too, man. I like to chill out. I like to have my good times alone and not dealing with other gamers, but then other times I like it. And I like a mix of it. I wouldn't want a game to be boring and just be like all PvE, box missions, A to B bullshit. I want some spice in it. And what I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of content in this game that people aren't seeing because they're literally hypnotized, man. They have no imagination at all. Like none. Like, here's a beautiful world, an entire system developed for everyone, that you can land on planets and moons with no interruption, that there's like weather systems, that like there's beautiful places, there's things being built all the time, and people are like, you know, whining about not having more missions. And it's like, okay, some of it I take seriously. Some of it I'm like, okay, yeah, there's some points there. There's some good points there. But on the bigger scale of everything and the macro of the picture of the game development, I think this really opened my eyes up to a generation of gamers that are completely like not putting on their big boy pants, man.
Are you a big man?
Like, where's your big boy pants?
What? You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants.
Like, put them on, man. Like, dude, this is what gaming. I mean, like, this is cool, man. Like, other people where you can interact, player interaction. And this is a great segue into this, because this is one of those areas where you do have like player interaction, and that is rememberable. People will come back for that. That gives you the retention that you need to make the game successful. That danger, that element of danger, whether you're PvP or PvE oriented, that's it. That's it. And what I'm trying to say is he created a really good recipe here. And as long as they don't suck that out and say, oh, we gotta be careful. We don't want any intermingling between PvE and PvP. That's when I get worried, because I'm like, okay, how much? Like, and where at? But when we see security develop and we see the evolution of security, you're gonna see a really cool patchwork of PvP and PvE, and hopefully they balance it correctly. And I think they will. It's just going to be trial and error. It's going to be trial and error.
Go there to hack away their crime stat. There's some loot there as well, so players do go there to loot.
Exactly, Trip Out. I want that too.
However, now, if you approach Korea, you're going to immediately notice Crusader has moved in at this point.
They're going to be using this facility as it was intended. And the way they're doing this, and we're doing this to hopefully entice PvP at this location, is we're firstly beefing up the exterior security of Korea.
You will be met with new online turrets that will not be too happy with you arriving.
Oh, shit.
It's now going to be even harder for people to approach and land. When you get there to land, you might find some enemies on the landing pad to thwart your infiltration of Korea. When you're inside Korea, there'll be Crusader security all around that you'll have to take out if you want to use that station.
They're flipping the script.
After killing a few of them, a security chief will spawn.
Now, if you take this guy down and you look around, he will have a security code on him.
You can take his datapad off, operate his terminal, and then start this contraband dispenser.
It's a device that goes into...
We're going to have another conga line? Are we going to have another conga line?
into Korea's storage facility and pulls up contraband that was deposited by the law enforcement.
And the great thing about that is obviously we've got some highly valuable drugs in the game. We're making even more highly prohibited and expensive goods, as well as crap. Just we'll throw some worthless rubbish in there, so it's an absolute gamble.
You'll still be able to wipe your crime stat there. That is always going to be wanted at Korea. But the new thing we've done is we've removed the UGF crime stats. You will no longer be able to go to a UGF to wipe it.
Obviously, that's going to focus criminals and like law enforcement, those are roleplay law enforcement
That's
into
going
that
to throw
area.
a serious
But we
wrench in
decided
some...
that still wasn't enough.
Wait a
We'd
second.
been looking for a way to give players their first ever kind of player-triggered mission.
When this location goes under attack, which is when a certain amount of the AI that are defending the location are killed, and broadcast.
Am I hearing that correctly? Did I actually hear that correctly? Is it just at that location? Like, what the fuck? I'm with Futz here. I'm exactly in the same boat that Futz is in right now. We're rowing it together, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? I'm with you, Futz. I'm with you, dude.
That we put out to all bounty hunters, anyone who is a lawful player, to come to this location
right, dude, like,
and
what?
remove the threat at that location. However, don't get greedy and pick up any of the contraband. You might just be marked as one of those bad players.
So I think players who've been with us for a while will be really excited to hear what we're doing with Korea.
This is going to pull everyone to this one location to have battles.
It's open, it's functional,
Lee.
and it's going to serve as a dangerous hotspot
Lee's like,
for
"I
both
just don't like
criminal
this kid."
and lawful players alike.
They're trying something different. You see what they're doing? I don't know if I necessarily agree with this approach, right? But I give them compliments for at least trying. They're trying to spice it up a little bit. They're trying to bring people in, right? They're trying to make it a little bit more spicy there. I get what they're trying to do. I'm not quite sure that this is the way to go about it. Also, how it's all going to be executed, you know what I mean? Like, I'm holding my
Restoring
judgment.
Korea to its former glory is just one of several steps being taken recently to provide improved opportunities for PvP combat in the persistent universe. And we're going to check in on its visual makeover as it progresses later this quarter. But now, let's turn our attention to prisons. Or maybe just one prison in particular. That home, too often a home for those who break Stanton's laws intentionally.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I'm down with this. Yeah, like, right. I'm with you too, Explodo. So far, I'm kind of with, like, Futz and Explodo on this. I'm thinking, like, I don't know about this, you know? Like, I get their intentions are to actually bring more danger and pop it off crazy style, but I'm not quite sure that's what they're going to accomplish by doing this. I don't know. It's going to take me time to figure it out. If I like it, I'll let you know. If I don't, I'll let you know. Sometimes, like, I saw a really good comment yesterday on one of our videos talking about these game developers and talking about imagination and talking about, you know, just like building a perfect MMO. And one guy said to me, and I thought this is a really, really relevant comment to what we've been witnessing on the channel this week. He said, sometimes when an MMO does too much, it can ruin it. Like, sometimes just going at it like little pieces is best. Like sometimes putting more into it that's scripted actually can ruin a place, you know, in the game, in the environment, in the game. And I thought it was like a really great comment, because there have been titles in the past where like the developers have tried too much, put things in that didn't really feel good to me in terms of like what I was accustomed to. I mean, one of the best examples in the world I can use personally in my own experience was Elite Dangerous, and what they did with engineers and how engineers flipped the script on everything, and it became all about fetch quests and like the danger. There was a danger vacuum, and it was all elite. That's like one of the biggest instances where I've seen developers just like put way too much in, cram it in, change it so that like literally in that instance, you had to grind hours upon hours just to get the weaponry you had in the first place in terms of your DPS in Elite Dangerous. And it was such a step backwards. It was more than a step backwards. It was like 10 step backwards, especially if you were into that player-to-player interaction, that people that were into that didn't want to put that kind of effort into the grind to get to that point. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening here with Star Citizen, but like it's a really good comment. It's a really good debate to have, to say like, okay, well, if a developer puts like too much in a certain spot or tries to flip the script too much, it changes the actual vibe of the place that you loved in the first place. A lot of people don't like Jumptown the way that it is now. A lot of people like the original Jumptown, and just that the way that it would just sat there and people needed that area so that there was plenty of battles there, you know? So I get it. It's a good debate.
Or who just
Yeah,
stare at
right,
an elevator
Fuzz.
the wrong way. Let's go back to the mission feature team and discuss the ways they're currently exploring to bring new ways of escaping Kleischer's all too familiar grasp.
So currently in prison, there are 4 ways to get out.
Right,
You can
Explodo.
wait.
Yeah.
You can mine. You can escape. And finally, we added a mission where you can go and repair things for Kleischer, and they'll give you merits for doing so. But we don't believe that's enough variety, so we're working on more ways to complete your sentence.
The prison
Alright.
caves in particular can feel like quite a lonely place. You know, they're very dark, very damp. The likelihood of running into players is not particularly high, especially because there's 3 different routes.
Right.
So straight out of the gate, the first thing we're investigating is NPC prisoners in the caves.
This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. When you see the developers are rooted into actually knowing what the gamers want in terms of interaction, whether it's NPC interaction or whether it's player interaction, or trying to design a level, right, that brings people together. You see, they got the data. They know that there's not a lot of people that run into each other in prison. They know that prison is relatively monotonous and boring and repetitive. So what do? They revisit it, they come back to it, and they're trying to do different things to make it a more interactive experience. And that is what I was trying to get my point across and hammer that at the very beginning of this intro was, not only are these game developers that I talked about earlier, they're not connecting with the gamer because, frankly, I don't think they play their own games. But they're not presenting the content in such a manner that captures people's interest. You should have seen these presentations we saw. It was like they were like brain dead, like they weren't even connected. You know what I mean? When I watched this, okay, and the transparency, and you get to talk to these devs and you get to see what they're thinking, that's really so positive in terms of transparency and connecting with the gamer. So when I see this versus what we have been watching lately, I'm like, it just makes me breathe a sigh of relief. Like, I'm just like, okay, back to normal, like back to what it is that I love watching, game development that is like, that I can see, that I can watch, that's tangible, that's digestible, that's entertaining. You know what I mean? Because, oh my God, that dual universe, I seriously wanted to hit myself with a hammer in the head. I couldn't even get through it. And the Elite Dangerous cinematic where we saw the new update 13, I could barely even digest that, man, because I was like, come on, man. I was happy the Thargoids were dying, and then they bring the Thargoids back, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Get rid of these fucking hemorrhoids. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes these sunflowers, man. Nobody likes that shit. It's over. It's over, Johnny. You know, we're Star Atlas bringing out like sponsor content for I Buy Power and just like going complete like money mode. And then we're going to talk tomorrow with Erad and see what the hell happened. Apparently Erad got a fucking strike directly from Star Atlas themselves. So that's going to be fun. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but I can't wait to go over that because it's like, really? On his second channel that has like 2,000 subscribers, they gave him a copyright strike. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what? It's crazy.
Currently, the caves are pretty empty. The only person in there is Auralia.
And
we want to expand that to have these. You'll be able to hopefully kill them if you want to risk the crime, and they might have some things that might help reduce your sentence.
We also wanted to provide more sandbox opportunities for earning merits. So some of you have noticed there's stashes dotted around the tunnels.
They can contain items that you could have bought previously from the vending machine, and they can also find themselves contraband items like prison shivs. We're looking at ways to have a system where players can bring back contraband and other prison-wanted items and be rewarded for it.
We also want to investigate adding a reward for players taking out violent inmates. This will help clean the prison up and stop them from causing a ruckus, and it will also provide, the model prisoners more ways to legally,
prison fights,
preferably, pay off their crimes to society.
So if prisoners continue to be bad, then they're trying to endorse other prisoners, kill the prisoners that are bad, that should not be acting bad. That's pretty good.
I feel like if they do that right,
I feel like that could be very fun if they do that correctly.
And for those who don't want to serve their time, we're adding a new mission into the prisons.
All criminals caught end up in Clashare, and there's lots of vital information to be recovered from there.
Kohaku.
In a certain depth, in a certain cave, we're adding what is known as a black spot, where
What's up,
outside
Architect?
entities
How
can
you doing,
contact you and ask you to do work inside of the prison.
In doing so, they will be rewarded very handsomely.
It's always great when we get to revisit locations and missions after getting player feedback, and this won't be the last of updates you'll find in the prison experience.
Okay, good.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that
It won't be the last update from any of this. It's going to continue to evolve. Another reason I'm like super, super happy to be part of this. Some people are like, oh, it's taking so much time. I like the consistency, even if it's slow. I like knowing that they're going to continually look at this through the eyes of us, the gamer. And they're going to continually find out new ways to develop this and design so that there's interaction, whether it's NPC or player interaction. Because really in an MMO, that is the secret sauce. That player-to-player interaction, right? Always feeling like the game's alive and hopping. That is something that is so important to stay connected to, that pulse. Never let that pulse die out. That is something you always have to listen to as a developer, and I've always felt like Cloud Imperium is at least aware of it, whereas a lot of others are not. And you know it, because you're playing it, and you're beating your head up against the wall, and you're like, the changes that you're playing are so dumb. Like, everything I witnessed with Dual Universe, such a great idea. Such a wonderful idea. And it just like, it continually, the presentation was horrible. People just lost interest because the presentation was horrible. They didn't know how to market it. They weren't getting new subscriptions in. The support started dropping, and then they couldn't afford the data that was on their servers because everybody was mining, and they had to reset the telemetry, and then the numbers went down again. And then they tried to create magical mining machines that brought ore up, and then all the economic players got pissed off because there was no scarcity anymore and there was ore everywhere. And it was like, well, fuck this economy. Why am I even playing this game? Then they lost the economy base. And now they just announced, hey, we're going to reset, which a lot of us probably knew that was going to happen. But boy, is that a setback for people that put like years into that game and built amazing things in that game. Some of the best crafting, some of the most fun trading and industrial shit in that game. Awesome game, and they ruined it. They crapped on it, and it's just such a sad thing. And that is an example of a developer that is not in touch with their gamer base. It is not a hard thing to do to understand what is needed to make a successful game. Guess what? It's us. like the easiest part of game development is knowing that what you're doing is you're catering to the player base, the gamer that's going to play it. It is like the number one rule of game development. And it is beyond staggering that these developers are not connected. Star Atlas's mistake, we talk about it all the time. They're using words that are so toxic to the gamer that gamers don't like the words NFT. They don't like the words. Listen to me. Play to win or play to earn. They don't like that. Now play and earn. They need to. They're doing it all wrong. Like it baffles me that I'm the one sitting here watching these things, and I'm the knowledgeable one. Like, you know, you got a problem when you're watching DG and you're like, wow, DG is actually smarter than these developers. And it's like, wow, right? But I am happy to see Cloud Imperium doing it right. I am happy to see Cloud Imperium always focusing on the gamer. It is so goddamn important. And you'd think it would be the easiest thing. You'd think it would be the easiest thing to understand in the world. Like, it is not. We've seen it on the channel in these 3 titles, and I'm still upset about everything that we talked about last week, and I cannot wait to talk about it on tomorrow's stream. It's going to be crazy, because I'm going to go off again.
Folks with a fondness for the old days of Korea have something familiar to look forward to. That Kleischer may finally get some...
Starlet is right. Starlet's saying, to be fair, Starlet doesn't need gamers. They need crypto-friendly people, and that's like that evil fucking damned if you do, damned if you don't cycle. You know what I'm saying, Starlet? Because they're going to need to connect to the gamer base first. They need to connect to the gamer base. Like, I'm not quite sure their plan, Star Atlas, going after just the traders is really how you want to go about it. I think that's kind of flawed concept to say we're going to make a game, but like when we bring out the game, we're going to not focus on the gamer first. We're going to focus on the traders and the people interested in the crypto. And trust me, as a trader, I'm totally into that. I love it. But you're not bringing any gamers from that. The second you bring up those toxic words, gamers turn off. And guess what? Gamers are the reason why your game fucking exists. You know? Can they connect to a gamer base when there is a game? Listen, I'm talking about purely presentation, Starlet. I'm talking about how the developers are presenting the product to the gamer, right? They're going about it the wrong way. They're not using words that are relatable. They're using words that are, in fact, toxic to the gamer base, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's crazy that they don't know how to present their product in a fashion that would give them more support. It's like they're slamming themselves in the face, and they're like, oh, NFT, 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 NFT. And you'll get people who are interested that are traders and people that are into NFTs in Star Atlas for that reason. Perhaps a lot of them like me that also like to play games and trade as well. Trust me, I'm one of those people. But you're not bringing in a majority of people that just want to play the game. And you're not going to have the time to relate to them what all the additional coolness is going to be when you add those cryptos or you add those NFTs to the game, because they're already turned off. Yeah, it's going to take a long time for that whole healing process. It's going to take years. It's going to take years for people to become accustomed to NFTs and understand what they are and get the fact that 99% are not the greatest or have no value. And it's going to take a long time to wash that taste out of the mouth of the gamer base, especially when NFTs are primarily devoted to environments, right? VR environments, gaming environments go hand in hand with NFTs. And like the way they presented, the way the industry presented it to gamers was the incorrect way of doing it. Absolutely shot themselves in the face.
NPC population to better obscure the same familiar faces that I keep seeing in there week after week. You know who you are. And that even with a major focus pushing ahead, it's important we look back, iterate on what's come before, and continue to evolve all aspects of Star Citizen along the way. Now don't forget the Ship Showdown has begun, and it's your chance to advocate for the best of the best in Star Citizen's ships and vehicles, for a chance to win exclusive paints and prestige, and for us to bet internally on how we think you'll vote.
I did a laugh for that. That was good. That was good.
Last year.
Listen.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee, here in the Bonded Warehouse, our neighbors at the new Manchester goods yard, who were kind enough to let us in when the rain showed up. We'll see you all next week from who knows where.
Okay, all right. We knew it was a proper place. We knew it was a proper place. Welcome, NXC. Welcome. Congratulations. You've worked your way over to first level Energize. Don't worry if you're watching on YouTube, because there's going to be plenty more, okay? And you'll have more chances getting over here live like everybody else. We're going to have an amazing after party, and I know everybody on YouTube, listen to me. I love you. Push that like button down below if you are a fan and you're watching this highlight that I'm shipping over to YouTube tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. And now everybody here, are we ready?
Yes, sir. You're not gonna hate me.
For some after party. I hope you guys are ready because we are going to have a blast. I've missed everybody. It has been an entire week without you, and I'm feeling that too. Thank you, Explodo. Yeah.
With a common denominator.
Great movie, man. Wolf of Wall Street was such a great fucking movie, dude. All right. Let's get ready and let's have some fun for the after party time. Let's do it.